Welcome back to another edition of Recruiting Thursday here on the Westmoreland Sports Network. Jack Ridenour with you, and today I'm joined by Greater Latrobe boys basketball player and University of Montevallo men's basketball commit Landon Butler. Landon, first off, my friend, congratulations on the recent commitment, and thanks so much for joining us today. How does it
Thank
feel to
you.
make this decision?
Feels good. Definitely a lot of pressure off, my back, and yeah.
Well, I want to dive right into it and just kind of like what led into obviously your commitment to Montevallo, and then also just what was this whole recruiting process like for you with it being also your senior year?
Yeah, so the culture there at Montevallo is, really good. Every guy in the team, best friends, and when I went on my visit there, me and the coach, we instantly connected, great relationship with them. I text them every day. So good guys there. And, once they reached out to me, it was actually kind of a funny story. They had no idea who I was. They just found me on Twitter one day, texted me, went on my visit. So, when I was in his office talking to, the head coach of Montevallo, I instantly knew I wanted to go there.
Well, I'm glad that you bring up the aspect of how you got found with it being, again, the 21st century social media. I mean, hey, man, when
Yeah.
I was, in high school, Twitter was not like what it is today. So
hmm
for you and a lot of your other teammates and friends even that have played, or are going to play college basketball, how instrumental has something like Twitter and other social media been for players like yourself in getting recognized?
Oh, it's definitely huge. It's a huge part, and especially the other players that have offers and they retweet your stuff, comment on your stuff, it gets out to other coaches and stuff. So it definitely is a huge part in recruitment.
Yeah, it's an incredible thing, I have to say. Social media has definitely just exploded in the last 5 or 6 years or so. But what were some other schools that you were considering during this process?
So it was really only between West Lib, of course, but uh, I didn't really want to choose a path where I didn't want to be behind my brother at West Lib, so I chose Montevallo.
Well, I'm glad that you bring up your brothers. We'll definitely get into them in a little bit because I know that they've had a big impact on you and in your basketball career. But want to just jump into what led you to getting into basketball. I mean, when did you start playing and why did you start playing?
As long as I can remember, yeah, there's always been a basketball in my hand. I come from a basketball family, of course. My dad went overseas, played at Robert Morris. So, I mean, just from the start, I just always had a basketball in my hand. Always loved the game, loved watching it. So,
Well, I know that your older brothers, both Austin and Bryce, have been incredible players. And then your younger brother, Max, also doing a great
mhm.
job. So I have to say, growing up, I'm sure it was very fun playing 2-on-2 with everybody and whatnot. What were those fun driveway battles like with your brothers?
It was always fun time, especially when COVID happened. That's all we did. We just played 2v2. So I actually have there's a doctor that lives right next door, has a gym, so we go down there and play all the time. It definitely is a great time.
Now, with you guys being, again, somewhat close in age and being able to play against each other, I'm sure you guys kind of borrow things from each other's game. What do you think is something that you borrow from your other brothers in your game?
Definitely my IQ from Bryce. Bryce has a similar IQ than I do. We play just alike.
Well, I think that's great that you can, again, find some connection there with one of your brothers. And I would love to also hear what it's been like kind of now in, especially this past year, being the older brother with Max being on the team. What was it like kind of having him look up to you and ask for advice?
It's definitely special. I got to watch Austin and Bryce play together when they were in the same situation, senior, sophomore. So when I got to play with Max, it was actually it's really cool to play with your brother. And I hope the things that I do, he looks up to, like you said. And I hope he takes things from my game and involves it with his.
Well, I know that this was a really big year for you individually, and being able to share this moment with your brother on the court, I'm sure was also really, really cool. Scoring your 1,000th point.
It is Landon Butler with it. 2 points away from 1,000. Down to 10. Tries to split a double team, throws it up, and there's 1,000 points for Landon Butler.
Another Butler brother to do it, which I'm sure was in the family group chat, maybe a joke or something. Hey, how did it take so long, or whatever it might have been? But what were those conversations like with your brothers, both Max, Austin, and Bryce, leading up to that moment, and just this entire senior year with it also being, your last year of high school, and you were uncertain of where you were going?
I mean, it's just it's all love between all four of us. That we all congratulate after every game, every win. If we did something bad, that we tell each other, we'll text them hey, you got to do this better. got to do that better. But when I got my 1,000 point, they're excited for me. They're happy that I joined them on the banners as well. So
Now, did you know how close you were leading up to that?
yeah, I was. Yeah.
So when you finally scored it, how big of a sigh of relief did you have?
It was good. I kind of just, after I scored, I kind of just stopped and was like, finally, it's over.
Well, if you think about it, this was a very interesting year for you because you had a lot of, again, having that 1,000 point mark on the horizon, again, looking for where you were going to play college basketball next year. How were you able to juggle all of that and dealing with all that kind of, I don't want to say distraction, but that external noise while also focusing on playing basketball and it being your senior year?
Honestly, it was, I just didn't think about that stuff. I just wanted to play, try to make playoffs and do what I could do for my team, to extend the season. But that stuff was kind of just outside. Like, I didn't really think about it all year. But so my main focus was just the season and then worry all about all that stuff at the end of the season.
Well, it's great that you were able to block that out because I think a lot of athletes, they have a hard time, dealing with that, especially when, again, you have, family, you've got friends, you've got people on your team and everything else, and being able to kind of just continue to focus. It really, I think, speaks volume to your character and being able to just go and continue to attack whatever goal you're going after. But I know that you've got graduation coming up and then you're going to be heading off to college. What is kind of the plan for you in the next few months, just getting ready to head off to college?
Just work out. That's basically it. I go to a place called GT and I work out 3 days a week. And of course, basketball workouts as well. So that's the plan.
Now, will you have to report to school during the summertime with workouts, or kind of how does that kind of work?
So I actually do not know that. I have no idea when I'm supposed to go yet.
Interesting. Okay. So are you a little nervous, a little uncertain of what's going to happen?
I'm a little nervous. Yeah.
Now, in terms of just going through the process of moving away from home, right, and being away from home, and are you excited for that? Or what has kind of been the advice that your older brothers, who again have also, moved out and have gone to college in other areas, what is some advice that they've given you about that?
So, Austin played at Holy Cross. So that's about 8 hours away from here. But he told me it would be hard at first, but he said once basketball season comes around, I'll get used to it and kind of settle in. But Bryce, he lives an hour and a half away, so he didn't really have much to say.
Yeah, that is very true. That's a good point. But yeah, Austin definitely being very far away from home, and it's definitely a very unique feeling. Hey, I moved away from home for college too, and so it's an interesting kind of dynamic. First 2 or 3 months, you realize, wow, I have a lot of freedom, and then, like you said, basketball kicks in, and that freedom quickly the shrinks away. But Austin, it's been great to Austin. I'm saying. This is what happens when you have so many Butler brothers. I meant Landon. Landon, it's been great to have you join us today on Recruiting Thursday. Before I get you out of here, I always ask everybody this question just in general. What are you most excited for when you head off to college? Doesn't have to be basketball related. It can be anything. So what are you most excited for as you head off to college?
I'm going to have to say exploring Alabama because never been there before. Never.
Now, what part of Alabama is it?
It's direct. So it's 45 minutes out of Birmingham. So it's kind of directly in the middle of Alabama.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Are you going to become a big Crimson Tide fan?
I don't know yet. Yet.
Okay. All right. Well, jury's still out on that one. We'll see what happens there. But again, Landon, really appreciate you joining us and good luck the rest of the way and good luck in your final few months of high school.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
That's Montevallo's basketball commit, Landon Butler. Thanks so much for watching another edition this week of Recruiting Thursday right here and only on the Westmoreland Sports Network.